Hello folks, I'm Aditya and today we are going to learn about Git version controlling and how to get your hands around GitHub. So what is Git? So Git is a distributed version control system for tracking changes in source code during software development. So whenever we are working in teams or we are working on bigger softwares whose code bases are in millions lines of code, like imagine the code base of Facebook, imagine the code base of WhatsApp. So before there was when there was no Git or Git, imagine how folks used to used to maintain the code. There was no mean of maintaining your code because you can't just keep copy pasting or your every new, because on one software there are hundreds of folks working, so you cannot just copy pasting each and every code written by others. So around 2006, when the size of softwares were getting gradually bigger and bigger, around that time only, because 2006 when FB was founded by Mark, and around that time only Yahoo and Google, they started booming. So the Linux, actually the author of Linux kernel, the kernel on which Ubuntu runs, Linus Torvald. He wrote that kernel. So around 2006, he saw that there were many contributions coming on that were coming on that kernel from the world. So he needed something to maintain that code. So around 2006. Linus Torvald wrote Git, and it was initially written by him for his use only. But later he boomed, and now you know Git, how it is so essential for everyone. So now, what is GitHub? So when I started learning Git back in 2018, I thought Git and GitHub, they both are same, but they are not. Because if some of you have worked with Node, so you know what, you never mention Express as middleware. You are using Express as middleware. Because Expressware is so good that copes up with Node, you don't even mention it. So it is like default. You are using Node, then you are gonna be using Express. So same way, Git, when you use GitHub is a way to go, because it copes up really well and you don't need anything else apart from what GitHub offers you. So there are many alternatives to this as well, like Bitbucket and GitLab. Back in like one like 1 years ago, 1 year ago, when Microsoft acquired GitHub, people were talking like we gotta pay for GitHub, and then they started looking around and thinking of other hosting services. So until then, I didn't know about GitLab and Bitbucket. So GitHub is so popular, and if you wanna work, everyone works on GitHub. This is the best way to go. So if you wanna explore, you can go look at GitLab or Bitbucket, but GitHub is a standard way to go, and it's really good. So Git and GitHub, they are different. They are different how? Because Git is a software and GitHub is a cloud provider. I mean, GitHub is where you are gonna host your project, but the from a local machine and your cloud server, you are using Git to communicate and give commands and manage that repo. So Git is a software and GitHub is a hosting service. So GitHub provides hosting for software development and version control using it. It offers the distributed version control and source code management functionality of Git, plus its own features. So many features there are on GitHub. So many features, and you know what? This is every big firms, bigger companies like Google, Netflix, Amazon, everyone, they host their project. They host their project on GitHub, nowhere else. So it's it's your way to go. It's default. It's like if you're learning Git, you are gonna go with GitHub. Now, now, I want to talk about why is it so important to learn Git and GitHub. Because if you're on internet and you look around, you will see that everyone is talking about Git and GitHub, and it's essential. It's so important because when we go in any firm and when we join our company, like thousands of folks are working on same piece of code, same piece of software, same piece of functionality. So there is, and now even before COVID, GitHub was used, but after COVID, people are working remotely. So it is, it is very efficient to monitor your project, your software without even thinking of without even going out of the way and thinking of managing your code. So even if Linus Torvalds didn't write the Git, someone else would have done it because it was so necessary. So anyone who is in IT or who does a little bit programming, even you are out, you are from commerce or not from IT field basically. So you should know Git if you are coding and if you are into CS. And the second advantage of using this Git and GitHub, because you are you are pushing your work on cloud. So whenever you are going for interview or you wanna forget about interview, you wanna you wanna showcase you showcase your projects, showcase your software. Where would you go? You go on GitHub. You post host there, and if people start liking it, they star your they star your repo, and from there you get recognition from other developers if your if your software is worthy enough. So and even and if you want to learn, if you want to learn about new things, and the best way to the best way to learn things is looking at others code, how they write, and that's how you improve your code. And GitHub is full of full of good repositories where you can actually go and look how these experienced developer code, what semantics they follow, and what technology is trending, etc. So it is really powerful tool to know, and powerful to know as well, and you can learn a lot of things there. So now walk through to GitHub. So let's grow GitHub. I'm already signed in. I'm leaving it to you to sign in. You can do that for sure. It's not really so much. So this is how GitHub looks like. The people you follow, their activities go here, and then if someone pulled request to your repository, we would look what is pull request. Now just know what is if someone pulls request to your repo, it goes here. Then issues, marketplace, and explore. So explore here, you can explore about the topics you are interested in. They first ask you to mark what topics you are interested in. Now the topics, trending, collection, we would come here at the end of the video. Now, if your repositories goes here, your profile goes here, and here are your contribution throughout the year. And yeah, so basically this is how GitHub looks like. Like nothing so fancy, nothing so complex here. This is how your GitHub looks like. Now, creating a repository on GitHub. So first, we would look how we create a repository on GitHub. So we go here. Uh, you come here. Oh, so this is how we create a repository, new repository. That's it. Just you just give your name. I'm gonna give it name YouTube video, and that's it. If you want to put it private, you can. That's it. Boom, you created your first repository on Git, right? Here are some commands that are gonna be used when we for to push our code on GitHub. So yeah, that's it. This is how you create a repository. Now there are these are controls here: pull requests, issues, actions, projects. You can go through it. Now this is on your cloud. This is on your server and GitHub server. Now you need to push code here. So the code is on your local machine. So this is Git Bash. This is Git client, and I would link the Git clients. I would link the download link below. You can check it out below in the description. So this is Git client, because in if you are working on if you are working on Ubuntu, there is just one command to run and you are good to go, because Git comes baked inside Linux kernel. But in case of Windows, you need client to download. So yeah, just one command and you are good to go. Nothing to download. But on Windows, Windows sucks. So uh, you need to download this GitHub client, Git client. Sorry. So once you download it, you are good. On first time of running it, they ask to configure this client, and the commands that are used, they show it. I mean, you don't have to go on. You don't get you got you don't have to go on internet and search for it. It is already written when you try to push it. So uh, I would put those commands in description as well. Now we are in the let's go inside YouTube directory, see if it's empty. No, it's not empty. So rm rf YouTube. Oh, sorry. Now check if YouTube is gone. Yes, it's gone. Now I'm gonna create a I'm gonna create a by the way, I wanted to tell you, if you wanna work in VS Code, you don't need to come here. You don't need to come here. You can just work through command line also. You can work from here also. But I'm using Git for the sake of yeah, simplicity. Don't wanna things. I don't wanna things get complicated. So YouTube. Now to initialize a Git repository, we use command git init dot. So this command initializes a empty repository on your local machine. It is reinitialized because we had folder with same name git. We had folder with same name YouTube. So that's why it is saying reinitialize. Now if we see ls, sorry, uh, where are we? I think I ran command. Okay, so we have to go first inside YouTube. We go here and then we run this git init. Okay, so initialize empty git repository. So if you see directory structure now, it's empty, but there are some hidden files here. Git these are the I think these are systems file, and this is the git folder. Now if we go in this folder, there are some folders, hooks, info, objects. I I probably would cover these as well, but they are advanced Git things. So today we are just going to discuss about basic things. So we should I would tell you, because you know the object, this folder is used to store your changes or your commits objects. So they are, whenever you push any commit, the commit is divided into two things: your commit ID and your commit changes. So these are actually the advanced stuff. Today we are just going to learn basics, and I would probably make another video covering all these topics as well. So here everything about whatever we do in whatever the local machine spec, then amount of commits, amount of this head is used to, head is a pointer, head is pointer to point your latest commit, whenever your latest commit is pointing. So configuration, etc., they are used to maintain the state of your code on local machine, and that communicates with GitHub to let GitHub know these are the changes that are made here, and now replicate it over there. So uh, let's get out of it. Now I'm gonna make a file, call it readme.md. So this is markdown file. Now I'm gonna make some changes here. Okay, so first we make changes. Now see what is status. So git status, this command is used to check the status of your git right now. So this is, these are the these are the, where are we again? I'm making some mistake. Again I'm making a mistake. Sorry. Clear? No. Now we are in PWD, right? YouTube, right? So we would see those files here as well. Actually I was here, but I don't know how I actually I was here only. Okay. So now if you see git status, this is on branch master, no commits yet. Now branch master, we we are going to learn about branches as well, but right now there is only one branch, that is master. Now git status, no commits, right? Nothing to commit because we didn't make any changes yet. Now if I make read md, readme.md, we made a file readme.md. md stands for markdown. You would know what is markdown, or search on Google. There are plenty of resources. You would know what is markdown. Now if I run git status, it says no on branch master, we are on branch master, no commits yet, an untracked file. So readmd, we added it, but it is untracked right now. We didn't add it to staging area. So now we go in readme and make some changes. I say hello world, we are learning data. Now earlier it was empty, we rotate something inside it, and now check what's git status. Still it shows no commits yet, untracked file, read md. Now I'm gonna now this git add command is used to add your changes in staging area. This git add is used to add your changes before committing. So before you commit any changes to any changes to GitHub, we use git add command to add them inside staging area. staging area. Actually, git add, and there are many ways to add your command in git, right? There are either you do git add dot, it would add everything that is every file that is changed, the changes that you made in any of your file inside whole repo, or either do asterisk. It would also add everything that is changed inside the whole repo, or you do read md, specifically write the name of file that you wanna add, or either you do uh, asterisk.md. So every file having md extension would be added. Every file having html, every file having html, every file having html extension would be added, right? So I'm gonna do what? I'm gonna do just asterisk add everything. Okay. Now if I do now git status, it shows changes to be committed. So readmd file is added in staging area, but it is not committed. So now what is staging area? So if we look at what is staging area, new, don't say now. So if we look what is staging area, so this is staging area. This is staging area when you run git add, consider you added everything having JS extension, right? So whatever changes you make, it is added inside this area, that is staging area. Staging area. Now once this is added into staging area, the your every all of the JS files are gonna be right here. They are gonna be right here. All files having JSX, all files having JS extension, they are gonna be here. Now once you run git commit, now they are gonna be they are going to be added into this history known as area known as git history. So now all those changes that you made, now they are going to be here, right here. Now changes come in git history. But one thing that I want you to know, even though they are in git history and they are committed, still they are not on your GitHub cloud. They are not on GitHub server. They are still, or the changes are still on local machine, right? So yeah, so this is staging area. When you run git add, they are in staging area. When you git commit, they are in git history area, and from there they are taken to GitHub, or from there they are taken to your GitHub repo that is on GitHub server. So now, as we saw, we need to also do git commit. I am gonna do git commit. Now there are also ways of doing it, like you just do git commit. This vi code editor opens, and you do your whatever the name of commit you wanna do, you wanna give, you can give here, or you just simply write commit -m and write for my first commit. You can do this also. So I mostly always people use this way. Now everything is added. Now if I run git status, see nothing to commit. Working tree is clean, right? It shows nothing to commit. Everything is committed. Working tree is clean. Now as if we go here, we have come this way. So this command wasn't used earlier, but uh, this command wasn't used earlier, right? They added this. They because before main, the if you see here, we are on master branch. Git branch master branch. We are on master branch. So before, like I guess like a little bit like 1 or 2 months ago, they changed that master name. That the master name was default branch. The branch used to be the default name of the branch that we are working. That is main branch. But I guess they thought this was confusing, so they changed it and they changed this name to main. So if now they recommend you that if you wanna work on the primary branch, then primary branch, the name of the primary branch should be main. So if you don't do this, it's okay, and even if you do, there is no harm. So we are not going to do that. We are just working on master, and just run this command, and that's it. There is nothing. There is no difference in main pushing main or master. So now this is you can you see a git remote add origin. So as I told you, we are working on local machine, and git is a cloud provider, right? The our repo is hosted on their server, so that is somewhere else. So there, where is it? It is right here on github.com/tiwariaditya15, my username there, and /youtube video.git. So we need to add this origin. We gotta add this origin in order to push our code there. So we are going to write this command git remote add origin origin, and just copy paste this from here and paste it right here. Make sure you give space between it. Yeah. Now the remote is added. The origin remote origin is added. The last thing is git push hyphen new origin. So as we didn't create this main branch. We are going to push master branch. So git push. The commands are pretty intuitive. You don't have to remember them. They are intuitive. You don't need to remember them. They are pretty intuitive. Git push hyphen u is what upstream. This game git remote at origin. This is also called known as this is also known as upstream. So hyphen u origin, our upstream is origin. You can name origin anything, but it is preferable to name it origin. Git push hyphen u origin and master. Remember, we are working on master branch, so we are going to push master branch on our GitHub. Now it is probably gonna ask. It sometimes asks, because if you're if you're pushing your code first time, then it is gonna ask your credential that you use to sign up on GitHub. So you just put it there. That's it. Nothing really complex here. Now if I refresh, the changes should be here. See, we are learning Git. Hello world. We are learning Git. 4 minutes ago, the change was 4 minutes ago. Okay. So we made the changes. Now steps to now let's revisit what we did. First, we add any changes done in our code. This takes your code to staging area. Once code is in staging area, it needs to be added to commit area. After committing, your code is committed, but after committing, your code is in committed area, but still not on GitHub. To push our code, we need to set our upstream, that is URI, that we did right here. We set our upstream. Now the last thing to do is push the code. So we pushed it as well. Now let's see next. So these are basically the commands that we use: git add file name, git commit -m, this thing. So yeah, commit is added. Commit is done with message, so that you know what changes you made. Now remote add origin URI, we did all of this, right? Now let's see what's next. So branching. So branching is very necessary. Now why branching is necessary? So consider you are working with your friend, and you are supposed to work on, let's say 2 or 3 interfaces, and he is working on 2 interfaces. So if consider he made you wrote your interface, pushed it on GitHub. He wrote his interface, pushed it on GitHub, but there is some error, that your page is not linking to the pages that he made. So he knows how to do it. He knows how to fix this issue. So what he gonna do? He gonna create another branch. He gonna create another branch and make those changes, that is gonna fix those issues, because he knows he wrote that remaining 2 pages, so he knows how to link them, and he knows how to fix it. So he creates a new branch. Consider fix. He names the branch fix. Now he creates this branch, and uh, he fixes that issue, and pushes it to GitHub. So now you can merge both branches, and whatever the changes he made, it would automatically be replaced in your master branch by the changes that he did. So why do we need branching, and why cannot just he go why can't he just go and change to master branch? So he was my friend, so I can trust him. But when we talk about open source, like open source is so much, so huge. People unknowingly people try to, uh, contribute to your project. So before trusting anyone else, you probably wanna go and see what changes he did, and then you wanna evaluate if that is not going to harm my project, or that's cool to add here, and it wouldn't break my software. So first you would probably want to see that. So that's why this branching came into picture. Like there are several branches, several because there are several features of any. So this branching came into. So consider, let's come here and again go to Paint and see. This is your master branch. I name it master branch. I name it master master branch. Now see, you probably know that there are several versions of any, there are several versions of any software. So someone coded version V1, V1. Let's call it feature V1, first feature. Now, as you are developing that feature, or as you are developing that version 1, you don't want to change anything until you're sure that, yeah, feature 1 is ready to be pushed on our main project. You cannot take risk of working on master branch, right? There is probability something goes south and your whole site is down. So we don't want that. So that's why we create the branching came into picture, that you can work on an isolated, the same code but an isolated branch, and it wouldn't affect your main branch, your master branch. So once you are assured, you are 100%, you 100% know that, yeah, this is not going to do any harm on master branch. If I merge it, then you can merge it, and there is no, there is a there is not chances of any catastrophe. So yeah, so that is why branching is used. And after that you are finished working with that branch, uh, after once you are finished working with that branch, you can just merge that to main branch. And now V1 is merged to main branch without taking any risk of harming your main branch. And now we just talked about feature 1. Now consider, through till people were working on feature 1. three people were working on feature 2. So this is how branching actually looks like. This was considered branch feature V2. Now there may be several like these several branches. Consider some people are working on back end, some people are working on front end, and they are working on different branches, and they just they just make the pull request, and pull requests are added to master branch without even affecting your master branch, without even affecting your code that is running your web app or website live right now. So that is why branches are used to be, or collaborative work. And then this is how we use branches. So if I see the branch I'm on right now, we are on master branch right now. Now the to create new branch we use checkout. And if there is already a branch and you wanna go on that branch, so you would probably do git checkout, and we are going to try checkout hyphen hyphen b and v1. Okay, now we switch to v1. Let's see what's here. Now go in readmd, and now we can see there are some typos here. Okay, so we are going to fix that. We are going to fix that. Learning. And now we are going to write a line called this line was added on v1 branch. This line was added on v1 branch, right and click. Okay, so now if we see git diff, it shows that this was fixed. These green lines were added and the red lines were removed or edited. Okay, now if I see git status, now this shows readmd is modified. Now do what? Git add. Okay, now git commit -m fixed typo. We did this. Now just push the changes on. Okay, so I think in last we were doing git push -origin, but I should have wrote I should have written v1, right? Git push I should have written v1. Now it should work. Hope so. Please work. Okay. So uh, yeah. Now you can see there are two branches. Okay, v1 branch. Now Now, now look at the difference. On master branch, we just got hello world and we are learning GitHub. And on V1 branch, we can see the typo, that learning typo is fixed and hello world is fixed. The line was added on V1 branch. It shows here. Now, if you are working on someone else's code, like if you are contributing to someone, if you are working on someone else's code, you can see this comment compare and pull request. You can do there as well, but I don't wanna I'm gonna show it, right? I'm gonna show you how you do it. Compare and pull request. Now the that we make, we can see here. Now we go and create our pull request, and we want to add our v1 branch to master branch, right? This shows Aditya Tiwari wants to merge one commit into master from v1. That we fixed those typos. So now we can I can check here the description fixed typo. If I click on here, it shows these green lines were added and red ones were removed. Right now I can write any comment and I can just merge pull request. Yeah, commit merge. Now once this is merged, you remember those typos on master branch, they should be gone now. So if I go again on YouTube video, see, the typo is gone. We are on master branch, not on V1. We are on master branch, and we are learning GitHub. This line was added on V1 branch, but still we are on master branch. So this is how branching works. This is how branching works, right? So these are the branching command. Git branch shows you what branch you are working on. Git checkout V1 takes you to V1 branch, but V1 should already exist. And now git checkout hyphen b, even if v1 doesn't exist, just give this flag hyphen b, it creates that branch and takes you there. Now merging branches, we saw it's always good idea to use github rather than command line. Yeah, so there is also command if we go here, git on, sorry, on um, on git, there is documentation, and there are also command for merging as well, but it's always good idea to merge. It's always good idea to merge your changes on github, because you can visually see what are the changes. So here are some merging commands. Merge, yeah. And merging is always not so easy. There are merging conflicts as well. Let's see that as well. As I told you that the merging is not so easy, because so many people are working on it together. I would create a merge for you right now and see how merging conflict can be is induced in code. How merging conflict is induced in code. How it comes in the code. So now let's see. Read MD. It has these three lines. Hello world, we are learning GitHub. This line was added on V1 branch. So now I'm gonna do. We are on where we are on Git branch master. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna inside read MD and just add this line, right? Add this line. This is added on master branch. Okay. So consider this third line was there in on master branch, and something was added. Now someone is working on git branch v1. Okay, check out v1. Where are we? Okay, so we changed the file, right? So we are going to first commit it. Commit F1 added third line on master branch. On master, okay. Sorry, typo. Make sure you spell commit right. Okay. Now I'm gonna check out from here. Since I made the changes, I'm here now. Again, I'm going in read MD. Added. I'm gonna add. We changed third line over there, right? So I'm gonna also change third line here. This was added on v1 branch. Okay, so we made changes on third line there. We are making change on third line here, right? Git add it to staging area. Git commit -m added third line on v1 branch. Third line on v1 branch, and now again checking out to master. Okay, now someone was working on master and someone was working on branch. Now again, if I make change here, right, I just write that this added this I'm on master branch. Okay, so this is added on master branch to create merge conflict. Okay, I wrote this. Okay, So someone made changes on third line on v1 branch, right? Someone made changes on third line on v1 branch, and again I made change on third line of same file read.md on master branch. Now if I add this, and now I commit, right, hyphen m, okay, and I'm gonna write added third line of master branch, okay. So now if I do git merge v1, it is saying that conflict, merge conflict in readmd. The merge was created because I wrote something on master branch, right? Then someone on v1 branch, that v1 branch edited that third line, and again on master branch someone else made that third line, and the changes done on this v1 branch was already inside staging area. It was already added and it was already committed, and now someone on master branch is again doing what is again editing the third line, adding it and committing it. They both were the same line was edited by on two branches. They were added and they were committed. But now Git doesn't know what to keep, what to not keep. So if you have some nice, if you got some nice code editor like Atom or Sublime, or I don't know about them, but I use VS Code. So if I go on in, so this is a file that we were working on, right? So here you can see the current change is pointing here that we did on master branch, right? And incoming changes that the third line we added, this was added on v1 branch, and this was added on master branch. And to create merge place, we added after the v1 branch was we on someone on v1 branch made the changes and added and committed it. So to resolve this conflict, we just need to write these all things that were induced. Any modern code editor comes with this feature. VS Code at least comes with this feature. Now saved it, and now if I run git merge v1, it would be merged. It would be merged. Merging is not possible because you have unmerged file. Okay. So again, since I made the changes, I need to add git commit hyphen m. Okay, git commit hyphen m added on third line on master branch. This is added. Now git push hyphen u, and first merging, right? Merge v1 branch. Already uploaded. Now I can since they look, now it is merged because already uploaded. Git the master branch is merged with v1 branch. So we wanted to keep, since we wanted to keep all of them. Now if I go in readmd, those all four lines would be there, because we also wanted to keep that v1 branch, and we also wanted to keep that merge conflict branch that was on master branch. So you get the idea how this works, right? You get the idea. Now we learned the merging and pulling and comparing and pulling, creating pull requests. I showed you. Now we have come to last 2-3 slides. So how do you undo the changes that you add? Like something, sometimes you added something and you don't wanna push it. You wanna change again. You wanna change it before pushing it. So we do it by these commands: reset and yeah, uh, reset, using reset. So let's clear the consoles, and now check where are we? We are on master branch. Okay. All right. Cool. We're on master branch. Now I'm gonna add a file called what we call it, index.html. Okay, let's call it index.html. Make sure you spell index right. Okay, it's not it. Now I add something in index.html, right? So consider I add HTML. Okay, then again HTML. Why is it not working? Why? Okay, now I do the body tag. And I write this. Okay, I know this is not the structure of any HTML document, but I'm just showing it to you so that it looks a little bit real. It looks bit good. I know this is not the uh, actual structure of any HTML document, right? We added it. Now if I git add dot, now first see the status. Okay, so this says untracked file index.html. We made that file, we made changes in that file, but it is not added. So if I add git add this, now I do git status, it shows nothing to be added, everything is added and just need to be committed. So what I want to do, I wanted to consider, I wanted to add something, because in order to commit, you first need to make changes, then edit them, then commit, then only you can commit the changes, right? So I want to add a div tag there. Okay, so how do you go back? We go back by just doing git reset. Okay, earlier we ran the status get status, it showed changes to be committed. If now I say git status, it should say status should say untracked file, right? Again untracked file. Now I come here, go inside index.html, make the changes that I want to do, like I write a div tag here. Okay, I write a div tag here, div, right? um right and good. Now I can again do git dot and again git commit. So this was added div tag. Okay, so this was to go back when you added the changes. But once you committed the changes, you cannot just run git add and undo the all things. To undo the things when you already committed your changes, we do something like git reset head tilt one. Now git reset was just to undo the changes that were added by git add. Now you added a division tag, but what we did, we committed it as well. So just running git reset is not going to work. So what do we need now? We need to undo the last commit that we did. The last commit was the name of the last commit we put was added div tag. So there is something known as git log. Okay, okay. Now our head on master is pointing here, right? Added the div tag. Now we want to go back and edit that div tag and put some content in it. So how do you do it? So your head is pointing to that last commit, you wanna point it to here. Okay, so how do you do it? Quit. Okay, yeah, so that was vim editor. To come out of it, you press q. Okay, so there is also this flag one line you can do, so it shows everything in one line. So your head is pointing where your head is pointing to, your head is pointing to added div tag. Now I wanna undo that. I wanna bring this head to added third line on master plan. So we do that by doing git add. We do that by going git reset, reset head and tilde one means we want to point our head one commit back. Now if I do this, our that added div tag should be gone. It should be gone. So git log one line C. Our now head is pointing to added third line on master. And now if I see git status, it shows whatever the changes we made index, we added it as well, we committed it as well, but it now shows that it is untracked even though it was added and it was committed. So this is how undoing works in Git. So whenever you by mistakenly added something and you wanna undo it, you do it this way. So I guess we are there are these are the some commands like git difference, like uh, if I check the git diff right now, there is nothing, but again I go in vim index and consider I add a p tag here. Okay, I add a p tag here. I add a p tag here. Okay, cute. Now if I check git diff, git add asterisk, it was added. Again I go here and I write that this is paragraph. This is paragraph. Okay, good. Now if I check git difference, this now shows after adding that index.html. We added that index.html, but after adding that index.html, this paragraph is added. This paragraph is added and the paragraph this was removed. So the difference is used is used in a scenario. Consider when you added something, but it is not committed yet. It is not committed yet, but you added it, and you added git. You ran the git add command and something. Then you edited the file, and git difference shows you. Git diff shows you that whatever the edits you did, whatever the edits you did in a file, so that you can again git add that file so that it is ready to be committed. Then status we used so many. It usually gives the status of your git right now. So index dot this is changes to be committed. This is already added. Changes not staged yet. That the two line that the two we added and committed this index.html, but we again edited that index.html, but did not add and did not commit it. So the changes to be committed and changes not staged for commit. And git clone, whenever there is a concept of forking. So like if I go here and no, let's leave it. I react JS, and if I fork this repo, so this is where forking is used. I will show you. This is now forked, right? This is forked from react.js. Okay, this is forked from react.js, right? Now if I wanna if I wanna take the codes of this repo on my local machine, I would do something like this. Where I am right now. Yeah, okay, so let's go one directory back and make mkdir react.js, right? And just do git clone and that the we so what we did, this react.js, I forked it from someone else's repo on my repo that is not my repo, and used this origin and ran this git clone command, and now everything that is on this repository will be on my local machine. would. So this is where this git clone is used. Now this is where this git clone is used, and where are we? Okay, so it is still cloning it is because very large file. So I'm gonna just uh, I'm gonna kill it because I don't need that on my machine. Okay. Now git stashing is where this is also used for merging. This is also used for resolving merging conflicts. I would suggest you to read about Gestash on internet. This is quite useful when you are working in bigger projects where you just store it in your local machine. You are adding and committing so many things, but you store it some things on your local machine. So this is also used for resolving stashing, etc. But this was beyond scope of today's video. So that's why I wanted to know you something git stash exists, and I suggest you should read it. And yeah, that's it. And I hope this video was helpful for you. And if you are from IT or CS, just start using it. It is really essential when you start working. And hope this video helped you. This was my first video, so yeah, I don't know how the video went. I got no clue. So I'm if you wanna more content like this, subscribe to my channel and leave a comment below if it helped you in any way. Like the press the like button, and if someone could help from this video, then share this video to them. And see you in next one.